Good evening to the fair citizens of Cheyenne. I'm Brian Olson.
And I'm Craig Kennedy. A dispatch from President Harrison is on the way to Cheyenne tonight.
Already there is reveling in the streets as the 44th star is being added to Old Glory.
I'm Melissa Jew. Hundreds of gentlemen and ladies showed up for Wyoming's statehood celebration. I'll have those details during my live report from the State House.
I'm Cynthia Rollbull, and hey, what's the deal? We'll find out if the women's suffrage bill will survive to 1891.
I'm Wendy Guerin. Is this all our future has to offer?
I'm Kristen Humans. Tonight, the pet doctor has tips for you city slickers coming to work the Wyoming land.
I'm Jim Blaney. You've heard a lot about it, but is it a fad or is it something that will be with us a while? The story on baseball later in sports.
And what will this statehood business mean for the wealth of this new state, Wyoming? We will ask Mr. Doug Reeves for the answer.
Please stay with us. The news of the day for July 10th, 1890 is next.
Proud and free, we are what America is meant to be.
KGWN TV5 Cheyenne. Live from the Great Western Network, this is Wyoming Statehood Day, celebrating the legacy.
Good evening. What a glorious day it has been.
The 44th star has been added to Old Glory. This day, July 10th, 1890, will go down in history as the day Wyoming joined the Union.
Elegant ladies and handsome gentlemen are reveling in the streets tonight. We take you to the Capitol building where earlier today Melissa Jew was witness to a grand ceremony in honor of our statehood. Melissa?
That's right, Brian. I certainly feel like a part of history today at the State House on July 10th, 1890. The hustle and bustle of earlier this morning has subsided somewhat, but the air is still lingering with lighthearted gaiety because the vast territory of Wyoming is now the great state of Wyoming.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight.
The people of the Wyoming Territory proudly hailed the arrival of Wyoming as the 44th state of the Union on this day. Wyoming's entrance into statehood is significant in another manner because the 44th state is the first to allow women the right to vote.
Wyoming celebrates an event significant in the extreme, new in the history of our country, and without precedent in the world.
In a significant gesture, Judge M.C. Brown, head of the Constitutional Convention, handed Wyoming's Magna Carta to Mrs. Amelia Post, a renowned suffrage leader.
That as representative men of Wyoming, you have the courage of your convictions, and that you are neither afraid nor ashamed to allow women all the rights and privileges unrestricted of American citizens.
Governor Francis Warren, our last territorial governor, now Wyoming's governor, praised the state's constitutional convention. He says Wyoming, in setting precedents, has nothing to fear.
And in the adoption of her Constitution, equal suffrage is entrenched so securely that it is believed it will stand forever.
The citizens of Wyoming descended onto the Capitol grounds to celebrate our day of statehood, an occasion upon which inspired Mrs. I.S. Bartlett to write a poem of the day.
For we tread enchanted ground today, and we're glorious, proud, and great. Our Independence Day has come. Wyoming is a state.
Ah, the gaiety of Wyoming's statehood, something that we, the citizens of Wyoming, should commence to celebrate year upon year. Celebrations indeed. There will be a plethora of statehood celebrations this evening here at the State House. At 7 this evening, Professor Ten Brock will make an ascension upon the statehood balloon and plunge 1,000 feet in his parachute. Also at dusk, Jasper Julian will commence on a carload of fireworks right here in front of the State House. Two events you really should not miss. They might not happen for 100 years. Now, joining me live right now is gentleman and local businessman Doug Rees. Doug, now that Wyoming has become a state, what kind of financial impact will that have on the people and citizens of Wyoming?
We're just very slowly recovering from the great blizzard of 2.5 years ago, of course. In 1887, a lot of the prosperous cattle ranchers who at that time regaled themselves in the Cheyenne Club just a few blocks south of here are now bankrupt, and many on Skid Row. In fact, many have left to find their fortunes elsewhere. The greatest problem now facing us is the fact that we still have a lot of peace to make with the savages here, and unfortunately the railroad and the grasslands are all that this country has to commend it. I've heard some speculation that there might be oil under the ground, but the foremost economic authorities of today assure me that there's nothing under the ground in Wyoming that anybody would have any interest in. All we can look for is grass that will feed our cattle and our sheep.
Well, thank you very much, Doug, for joining us tonight. Now, the state of Wyoming not only became the 44th state in the Union, but it also became the only state to allow women to vote. And joining us live right now is Cynthia Roble, who will talk a little bit about women's suffrage in this state and the long, hard struggle.
Thank you, Melissa. As we are standing right here, we are an example of the women's suffrage bill in action. As you most eloquently stated before, Wyoming is the 44th state in the nation, but it is the first to grant women the right to vote. But will the bill survive statehood? And that has us asking, hey, what's the deal? Spotlight today, Esther Hobart Morse, the first woman judge in the United States, as well as the fighter for the women's suffrage bill, presented Governor Francis Warren with an American flag bearing 44 stars.
May it always remain the emblem of our liberties and the flag of the Union forever.
Thank you very much.
And later, a friend of Morris's, Teresa Jenkins, a woman credited with saving women's suffrage during Wyoming's statehood, talked about equal rights for all. But these advocates know the fight for equal rights must continue, or the spotlight will start to fade away.
I feel very strongly that we have the intelligence to get out and hold public office, to lead a public life, and still take care of our children, because our children are the future of the world.
Let's turn back the hands of time for a moment, shall we? It's 1869, where the Council of the House of Representatives of the Territory of Wyoming voted in favor of Council Bill number 70. By the way, the bill was introduced by this man, William H. Bright, which briefly says that every woman of the age of 21 years residing in this territory may at every election cast her vote. But will women's suffrage bill survive beyond statehood? Brian and Cred, according to many Wyoming legislators that I talked with, they view the women's right to vote as a plus for our state. They see it as a great way to promote the state and get national publicity, and also a way to get a positive, progressive image that will hopefully help us increase our population. Brian, Craig?
It sounds like a good idea whose time has come. Thanks for those reports, Craig.
There was a very serious runaway reported in Laramie today. Mr. P.D. D. Steiger of the Chemical Works firm and John Davis, manager of the Soap Works, were driving about the city in a single rig. The horse took fright at locomotives. Davis tried to turn the animal. When the buggy upset, its occupants were violently thrown to the ground. Davis's collarbone was broken, and he experiences much difficulty in breathing and is doubtless severely injured internally. Now, De Steiger's right leg was broken, and he sustained bruises. He came here from Chicago but a few days ago.
A quite dashing young fellow who gave his name as Archie became an employee of the Cheyenne Commercial Company and made himself agreeable in a social way. To see Archie gallivanting about, no one would suspect that he was scamp enough to desert a young and confiding wife after barely 6 weeks of wedded bliss. The new citizen is really R.N. Ames of Wichita, Kansas. Sheriff Martin was requested by telegraph a week ago to glance about his bailiwick and see if Ames was a city resident. The scalawag, with the aid of a description furnished, was located without trouble. Sheriff Martin received yesterday a letter from Mrs. Ames. The poor woman is in deep distress. It is said that Ames paled and trembled and stammered when approached by Martin. he could say nothing in extenuation of his base conduct.
We will take a moment for a word from our sponsors before proceeding with the rest of the day's news.
Upon our return, a man with the Union Pacific steam locomotive predicts, and we think this is folly, coast-to-coast airborne travel.
And the pet doctor shows us how our animals can better earn their keep. All as Newsource 5 for Tuesday, July 10th, 1890 continues.
We are what America is meant to be. We are Wyoming.
A new era is dawning upon the state of Wyoming. Henceforth, its career will be upward. Directly down the street from the state capitol is a symbol of growth and prosperity, the Union Pacific Depot. Wendy Guerin is standing by.
Craig and Brian, it is indeed wonderful to be here on this day of days as Wyoming acquires her statehood. Wyoming's iron fields are the richest in the world, and her coal double that of Pennsylvania. With the opening of these industries, Cheyenne must become surely the Pittsburgh of the West. Standing by my side is Jim Ehrenberger. He is a station agent here at the Union Pacific Depot. He, along with C.W. Sweet, are responsible for bringing a lot of the freight in and out of Cheyenne. Jim, at a time when Wyoming is looking at very prosperous times ahead, the Union Pacific Railroad is actually in very perilous times.
Yes, that is correct. The federal government is considering foreclosing on the construction bonds of the railroad. They had never been paid up to this time. And also, right around the corner, there's some changes that are in sight for the monetary standards from the silver to a gold standard.
What are the chances of something like that happening to our townsfolk?
Well, it's quite likely to happen according to the predictions that we've been hearing, and it's just a matter of time when it would happen.
Certainly something that also will probably be affecting the Union Pacific Railroad as the years roll by is a word that a man named Ford has come up with plans for a horseless carriage.
The Scientific American magazine has indicated that the horseless carriages will be in availability within the next decade or two, and that definitely will affect Union Pacific, not only the passenger traffic but freight traffic as well in the future.
Jim, is it possible that steam engines like this one, the 1243, could ever be replaced by these internal combustion engines that you're talking about?
Yes, I envision someday that there will be an internal combustion engine large enough to pull freight and passenger trains.
What about transportation overall? What kind of predictions do you have for the coming 100 years?
Oh, I suppose someday people will be flying around like birds. They may even get up to 100 miles an hour or so, but who knows? Perhaps someday someone may even make it to the moon.
Wouldn't that be something to see? I'm Wendy Guerin, July 10th, 1890, Wyoming's Statehood Day. Craig and Brian, back to you.
An interesting report, but we think the thought of manned flight is pure folly. News from the Cheyenne Indian Agency confirms the surmises of trouble at this point. About 4,000 Indians are at the agency and created a disturbance today when they found that no rations would be issued until Tuesday next. The delay is caused by the fact that the cattle were not driven from the range, thus leaving the Indians starving. The Indians also object to being counted in the census, and the census will be taken with great difficulty. The conditions of the Indians is deplorable. Yesterday, 12 died of consumption and lung fever, and the physicians had many more cases. Sickness prevails among, primarily among the semi-civilized.
It is said this great state of ours will be considered the land of plenty. Plenty of blue sky, fresh air, and green earth. And already, city folks are moving in to take advantage. We welcome them. But as the pet doctor explains tonight, the Wyoming way is an acquired lifestyle. Wild grass, the staple of God's hardiest creatures. The days of haying are upon Wyoming. It's time to stock up feed for the blustery cold winter. These horses bartering their strength and sweat for their keep, and it's a heavy load to bear.
Probably 400 pounds, I imagine. Feels a lot heavier than that if it runs over you, which it has done a couple of times.
Pulling that weight is tremendously taxing. If you don't keep your animals healthy, they'll starve to death in the winter for lack of hay. So they must be fed well, rested often, and harnessed with proper, well-fitting equipment.
If you don't have a good fitting collar, you'll sore your horse up on the shoulders. Either down here at the point of the shoulders, if you have a collar that's too big, If you have a collar that's too short, it'll tend to choke them. If they don't have enough room in here to breathe, it'll tend to choke them when they get in a hard pull, and it'll keep your horse from pulling.
If a horse is sore, then obviously you can't put him to work. He has to wait until those sores heal. So it's very important to take the time to groom that horse, make sure that that the harness fits properly and is kept clean.
That know-how you city slickers may already have from fancy book learning. But all the lessons in the world won't get you anywhere unless you know your animal, can feel his pain, sense his tiredness. That know-how you learn only from living the Wyoming life.
There are books written on it, but until you actually get into the driver's seat here and find out what it's all about for years, that's really what it takes. A lot of experience.
And experience is gained through generations of farming and ranching. So if you've come to work the land, we welcome you to our statehood celebration. We hope you're here ready to stay for at least 100 years.
On this day of beginnings, we could fantasize somewhat about the future. Mr. Ford, let's talk about this internal combustion engine. I wonder if such devices could ever replace the horse.
You never know. I would find it hard to believe, but the day may come.
Certainly pleasant weather as we began our statehood today. Most pleasant indeed. Area ranchers, though, certainly concerned about the dry conditions the past few days, however.
It has been dry for the past week, and it looks like it's going to continue to be dry. We did get a slight bit of a shower earlier this morning, and that gave us about 4/100ths of an inch. That will be welcome, but not much more is likely to come.
Okay.
Let's take a look at what we are seeing out there right now. Under our celebration, mostly sunny skies with a warm temperature of 84 degrees. The ladies certainly fanning themselves today. Winds are out of the west at 10 miles per hour with a humidity still quite low, 43%, and the barometer is steady at 30.34 inches. We will have more about today's weather as well as your dry weather forecast for tomorrow when we come back. Stay with us.
We are Wyoming, proud and free. We are what America is meant.
100 years from today, they'll be talking about this historical day and saying, my, what a lovely day it was for a statehood celebration in Wyoming as we add the 44th star to the nation's flag. We'll take a look at the conditions out there. It again was a lovely, lovely day. In Cheyenne, we had 86 degrees as the Capitol lawn started to heat up and everybody started to enjoy the festivities. In Laramie, 80 degrees under mostly sunny skies across most of the state today. Just a couple of thunder boomers there in the eastern portion of the state. The rest of us, again, very dry. We are under this dry spell, and that is unfortunate for the farmers out there, but for those of us who are trying to enjoy the celebration, it certainly was welcome. Just a few high clouds everywhere, and the winds rolling in at about, maybe 10 miles per hour. Not too bad at all. Sheridan, a lovely 90 degrees. It was a little bit warmer up there, and again, folks, it looks like we're going to start seeing this area start to fill in. As it does so, we'll keep you updated with our maps. Let's take a look at what we can expect for tomorrow. We are Wyoming, and we are proud of it. We will be a little bit cooler at 84 degrees tomorrow. Laramie will see 78 degrees under, again, partly sunny skies to mostly sunny skies. It will warm as we head more to the north. Sheridan, 90 degrees, and the settlers out there will see some warm temperatures as well under mostly sunny skies, but once again, not much precipitation to expect. Shall we take a look at our forecast for tonight? For the capital city of the new state of Wyoming, partly cloudy skies with possible boomers this evening. However, those should be clearing after sunset, and a low of about 52 degrees for tonight. For tomorrow in Cheyenne, have another sarsaparilla because it's going to be a warm one, 84 degrees under partly cloudy skies. In Laramie, you folks tomorrow can expect partly cloudy skies, a little bit breezy and a little bit warm, a high of 78 degrees. So it looks again like we had a beautiful day, another beautiful day ahead. We'll keep our fingers crossed for just a little bit of a sprinkle out there for the farmers.
Kristen, thank you. Next in sports, just like every other Tuesday this century, the Biffer is here.
And we will examine the baseball boom. Is it just a passing fancy?
We are what America is meant to be. We are Wyoming. We will.
The The gentleman, Jim Blaney, joins us now. The folks in the East have been playing this game with a ball and stick for some time, but will it ever catch on here?
I don't know. I personally have not seen this baseball game, but I've heard of it, and as you say, it seems to be catching on big in the eastern part of the United States. Some are predicting baseball will be the sport of the 90s. Baseball's popularity seems to be spreading quite rapidly, even though the professional clubs are based mainly in the northeastern part of the Union. In fact, 2,600 people watched a game 2 days ago in Philadelphia. Simply put, the object of the game is this. A team of 9 players seeks to advance players from base to base that are 90 feet apart, one base at a time. Will this game catch on? We sought the opinions of some of the residents of the Wyoming Territory. Correction, make that the state of Wyoming.
I think Mr. Doubleday has invented something that would last for quite a long time. I happen to be a member of the Minturn Club at Minturn, Colorado, and we think that probably we will be playing ball for many, many years.
It's a man's sport, and therefore it'll catch on.
One of the things that confuses me is this balls and strikes and 3 outs business. Can you explain how that works a little bit?
I think it's every time you strike at the ball, or if it goes over the plate, and it counts as a strike, and there's 3 strikes, and then you're out.
Is it ever going to be a game that, say, we'll see women play?
Oh, maybe not. Maybe not professionally, just for fun. The women will be the big rooters.
Well, I have to be honest with you, as entertainment, baseball seems rather limited by the fact that it's played during the day, and most of us are working during the day, so they're going to come up with another idea, I think, if it's going to catch on. Statehood won't change one thing. Tuesday night is always Biffer night.
Some exclusives, Jim, to add to today's report on this July 10th, 1890. We learned today exclusively that Wyoming will field its first football team under Coach Fred Hess and J.F. Soule next year. A rugged schedule is expected. The Cowpokes, as they're going to be named, will tangle with such powerhouses as the number 5 Hose Company, the Laramie Town Team, and Denver Manual. We also learned, Jim, that Coach Hess has recruited a brothel lad out of the Shoshone Reservation. However, a member of the Wyoming staff is departing for Texas and says he's going to take the kid with him. A big fight's expected between Wyoming and Texas. Jim Bridger, our famous scout and recruiter, reports that fishing is excellent on the Wind River, the Snake River, the Green River, and all rivers. However, a limit is being posted. You can only catch 80 trout in one afternoon. Folks are still talking about that rousing game between the Laramie Territorial Prison Team and the Laramie Fire Department. The Territorial prisoners won the game in the 3rd period when they broke out, when they rallied for 2 touchdowns and won the game. The Territorial Prison Team, the warden, however, will appeal to play next year some away from home games. And now for this exclusive announcement. First competition, new sport, is going to be held between Fort Russell Battalion 3 and the Cheyenne Volunteer Police Department. It's called square dancing, and Jacques Laramie and John Calder, along with Tom Horn, have agreed to serve as judges. One prediction in closing: I have a hunch that 100 years from now, July 10th, 1990, Wyoming will have made quite a mark in football and basketball. Larry Berleffi for Sports Source 5.
Well, the Biffer said, what, 5 years ago that Wyoming would someday be a state in the Union, and he turned out to be right as of today, so obviously he can see into the future.
Coincidentally, Mr. Berleffi claims to have discovered the fountain of youth. I think it's snake oil. Time will tell.
He'll be here forever.
We will take a break. Please stay with us.
In blankets of snow, we are Wyoming, proud and free. We are.
Now, time to play special trivia.
That's right. We have a special trivia question for tonight for you folks. This is something to ponder. Which state got its star just 1 week before good old Wyoming? And we'll have that answer for you a little bit later on in the day.
Wonder if there will ever be a 45th state, too.
You never know. Things just seem to be popping up everywhere. These settlers keep moving out from the east and wanting to settle our land.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for that report.
Tonight at 10 on the Nightcast, we will meet a wooden music man, a man who makes the instruments that he then makes music with.
Thanks for letting us share the news of this special day, July 10th, 1890.
Good night.